And in 3, 2, 1, we are live.
Yay.
As Davina says, we are live. Please do not swear. Jacquie, thank you so much for agreeing to come and be a guest this lunchtime. I am really passionate about what you do because, number one, I'm not good at it, and I like to look at experts who are. You know, we have a lot of fun when we talk about your work as well. And I am very excited about almost unleashing your gifts and this information onto my audience and anyone else who might be hopping along. So just to make sure, one of the things that you'll notice me doing, and this is for you who are watching and you, Jacquie, I am speaking to you here from the StreamYard studio, but over here I've got my computer, and what I will do is, number one, I'll mute the computer, and I'll also be looking at Facebook and also at YouTube for anyone who might be putting any comments in. So if when Jacquie's speaking, guys, you see me kind of do this, I'm not being rude. I'm just making sure that we get any questions, any comments, and anything else there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a look at the live stream. The other thing that I know about YouTube is that on these live streams, it usually is about 30 seconds delayed. So it's telling me that it's live. It's taking me to the control room. So I'm not sure who's watching or where you're watching from yet. So by all means, somebody's saying something on YouTube, so I know we're live. Alison Garrison. So thank you very much for your comment. Not making a lot of sense to me at the moment, but that's fine. And if it's a link that you've posted, unfortunately, YouTube will take that down. So who is my guest today? Why are they here? What are we going to talk about? So today my guest is this lovely lady, Jacquie Young. Jacquie Young is known as the Natural Health and Energy Mentor. And she's actually the owner of a business called Natural Healthy Women. And Jacquie is phenomenal. Like I said a few minutes back, I really love having these conversations with Jacquie. And today specifically, I wanted to just introduce Jacquie to you and let you know why I've decided on this topic to bring to you. Because I'm a visibility expert, I know. But when we are building a business, maybe we've been in business for a while, maybe some of you are professional women who are working really hard, perhaps a little bit too hard. So you feel like your energy resources have been drained. You are going to pick up some really good tips and nuggets today, regardless. So let me introduce Jacquie, and I'm going to look at some words that she gave and shared with me. So here's the thing you need to know about Jacquie. Jacquie, after living a life where she literally burnt the candle at both ends, she reached a point where her body couldn't take anymore. So what followed was an illness, and I'll let you talk a little bit about that in a moment, Jacquie. And she was unwell and unable to walk. That's how much this kind of really got to her. But she survived and conquered her illness by using just some of the tips that she'll share today. So she's had over 25 years experience of this, and she's also been very keen on researching and testing different theories and different practices. And Jacquie has a lot of very intricate knowledge about this topic. So she has worked for years and looked at different ways and knowledge to help women to create really energetic lives for themselves and robust health. Now, Jacquie is also a life coach and a passionate believer of the power of nature to heal. And she's collaborated with many natural health practitioners, a groundbreaking biochemist, I didn't know that. And she's also witnessed firsthand how our inner and outer environment can affect us right down to a cellular level. So she's a woman who now has a very busy and balanced energetic life. She always considers herself to be a work in progress, which is great. And her guiding principle is really in the belief that too many of our modern day health issues kind of lie within ourselves. So please welcome to this week's Real Lives and Real Talk, Jacquie Young.
Hello, hi. Well, that was a very nice intro. Well done.
So, I mean, I'm going to jump straight in because I'm so curious and interested in what you share, and I think it's well needed in the world, as you know. How did you get started in doing this work? I know we alluded to some of it, but just for anyone who's never met you.
Well, it really stemmed from majorly from my own illness that I had, and from the way that I was living my own life, that ultimately I sort of was able to look back on and see that had been the progression into the illness. I was, as I mentioned, extremely busy, burning the candle at both ends, and I was a busy actress, and I'd been studying for years as well, training in acting, and I enjoyed a great social life as well. So, you know, I'd be studying during the day and then doing shows at night. And then, of course, it would be going out with the cast and the crew, etc. And then falling into bed and starting all over again. Oh, wow. So, you know, there was a lot going on. And bit by bit, my health, I can look back on it and see that my health was deteriorating. I was feeling much more tired than I would have been previously. My body just wasn't functioning right. I wasn't dealing with food or stress or anything like that as well. And then I began to sort of get a series of colds and just not clearing them properly. And then I got hit with a massive flu, and I wasn't the only person to get this flu. There was a huge number of people who had flu within the village where I was, and it was a nasty one, and it took people time to recover. But the thing was, I didn't recover. And I kept trying and trying, but my body couldn't seem to get beyond this point. So my whole immune system, over that period of time, the years really, when I'd been running on empty pretty much, I was hit with this big doozy of an illness, and I just couldn't fight it off. And so what actually happened was I ended up in bed for a number of years, unable to walk, couldn't even get to the bathroom by myself. I could barely move my head to talk to people who, if they were at the end of my bed. I was very, very fortunate that I had some great care during that time from family and friends. And then after a couple of years, I got to the point where I was starting to be able to get out of bed. And the doctors were just completely unable to tell me what was going on. You know, it was a time when they didn't know so much about either chronic fatigue or post-viral fatigue. And there were all sorts of things flung out there, but nobody could help me. And I realized that the only help I was going to get was my own research and what I was going to learn for myself. And that's how the journey
really started. Frustrating. That must have been so frustrating. What was it like going through that?
Terrifying, I think, would probably be the way to describe it. There were times when I almost gave up hope, but there were other times when I just absolutely knew there was an answer. I felt I got myself into this place, so I had to be able to get out. That was my feeling, that was my thinking.
Oh, wow. So that's an incredible, I want to say story, but actually an incredible experience, because anyone who's ever had any kind of illness or felt that way, that feeling of not knowing, like, what is this? What's happening? And in between that, kind of like looking out to try and find what it is, what it was, or anything else. So, and by the way, I know that people are tuning in from different places. So wherever you're tuning in from, do type in the box and let us know. Are you on YouTube? Are you on Facebook? Are you one of the Vibers? Just type in the box and let us know so that we can acknowledge you. And we will be taking a few questions as well as we go through this. But let's get back to that. So you'd experienced this quite, you know, troublesome turn of events. So what was the thing that had you feel to yourself, well, you know what? I'd like to help others with this. What made you kind of, what led you to that decision?
Well, it took such a big part of my life away at that period of time. It took me at least 5 years, and I was in a wheelchair for a period of time, and just very gradually trying to find my way through. And I see other women living their lives how I was, feeling that they have to just keep running and running and running and running to keep up with themselves and the things that they want to do or achieve in life, which is all admirable, and we have a lot on these days. But there comes a point where the body's going to say enough. And we've got a lot of stresses and strains and illnesses nearby with the pandemic, etc. There's a lot out there, and we have to be as robust as we possibly can. And my discoveries that I made were that it's the natural route, and it's about looking at what you eat and your environment. And so it was just a desire to help people, help women understand, particularly women, what they are possibly doing to themselves, and how they can get that under control and live a much more balanced and energetic life.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's such an incredible story. So I know that when we talked about having this chat, really, interview formally, but, talking and sharing your knowledge, we talked about helping people to discover, their kind of first best steps to find more energy. So before we go there, this is going to sound like such a stupid question, but I do see people almost anaesthetize themselves to this all the time. How does somebody know when they don't have the right type of energy? Because people will often say, oh, but I'm really busy, or I've been working hard, or us business owners, I'm about to launch something. It's like we make excuses for ourselves. So how do you know when you don't have the energy? What sort of things are happening?
Well, in some degrees, a strong indication would be that this is not how you used to feel. If you look at the track of what your life has been like, if you're starting to feel that things are different, changing. I mean, I would always, excuse me, certainly recommend that people would check with their doctors if that were the case as well. That's very important. But if you're not finding, or they're not finding or giving you the answers that you need to take notice of that, because your body is telling you something is shifting. It can also be a matter that you're not sleeping as well. Even though you're really tired, you might be struggling to go to sleep at night, or you might be struggling to remain asleep. That can be an indication that things are getting out of balance. And also it can be a matter of degrees of anxiety. You're not coping with things so well. When things are balanced and your energy is flowing and your body is comfortable within itself, there's not so much anxiety or panic about things. As the Americans would say, you've got this, and your body feels that. And when it's going wrong, you don't feel you've got it anymore, So those are just a few examples.
That's so interesting, because I was writing those down so that I could remember, because that's the kind of person that I am. And it's interesting. Do you know, in my work, which has absolutely nothing to do with the kind of health and well-being, do you know how many people report these things? How many clients I give sleep advice to, clients who tell me, I don't feel like I'm stressed, but I went to bed really early last night and I was awake by 2:00 and I don't know what's going on. And the low level anxiety, I think, is one that I see that. And from a visibility perspective, of course, I can help with that. But from a health perspective, people like you, where I would kind of like shoot people through. So I just want, for anyone who's watching this, either live on the replay, and I want to give a shout out to Maureen. Hello, she said, hello, ladies.
Hello, Maureen.
So one of the things that I really, really want to be able to, to convey with this is, think about where you may have identified with any or all of what Jackie said. Maybe it just seems different. Your energy levels seem different than they used to be. Maybe you're not sleeping. Maybe you are sleeping and you're waking up. Maybe you're having trouble sleeping. Maybe your anxiety levels are like that, because people often look at stress, but what they don't necessarily look at is the overall environment, sometimes what they're eating. So now that you know, or, maybe you've got something you can resonate with, as Jackie and I kind of talk through these steps. And now we know this. What are some of the things that people can do if they are feeling tired in terms of the work that you do?
Well, there are a great many things. Too many really to go into all of them.
We won't go into all of them.
Not
but I know
every single one, but yeah. But just as I feel a really good starting point is to focus on the things that are, I would say, creating a false energy in you that then is a collapse afterwards. So that would be things like sugar, caffeine, alcohol, high carbohydrates. So it's a matter of looking at those particular things and understanding what it is that they're doing to you. I mean, so let's take sugar, for example. I mean, it's in so many things. The manufacturers absolutely love to sneak it in all over the place because it tastes good, I mean, we love it, and it's addictive, and it gives you that buzz and that feeling that, okay, well, I was flagging, so I'll just have myself a cake or a candy bar or something like that, and for a moment you think, okay, right, here I go, I'm off, and then sort of before too long you're like, and then guess what? You need another one. So you've got that sort of perpetual cycle going on, and you never got that real stability of energy that you can get in other ways. And then sometimes we think, okay, well, sugar's bad for us, but we don't necessarily understand what's going on in our body. And if we take in the sugar, it just gets metabolized really, really quickly within our body. And because of that, it's a quick hit and a quick crash. And that sugar is fueling our cells, because our cells, of which are all over our body, are absolutely fundamental to our energy. I mean, this is some things that I have learned over the years, and what this amazing thing that's going on, transactions that are going in our cells. And insulin is produced to help shift the glucose, which is what sugar becomes when it comes into your body, into the cells. So that insulin is produced when it sees the glucose. This is sort of in layman's terms. The insulin helps it get into your cells, and then your cells produce the energy excuse me, from the glucose, and then it uses up that energy quite quickly because it's a fast transaction with sugar. And then when there's nothing left, you can crash down the other side. Well, what you want to really do is you want to feed your cells in a more gentle, more balanced way, so that you don't have that peak and then the down trough afterwards. And that way you've sort of got a gentle curve rather than a kind of like that. So that's a very sort of simple way of explaining what sugar will do to your body.
So interesting, Jackie, you say that. Sorry, because of you, I keep remembering to take sips of water.
I'm going to
remind you as well. We've got similar glasses as well. It's so interesting because I have lost count of how many times over the decades where maybe I've been an employee, or I have been doing something and I've started to feel a bit tired. I thought, I'll just have something sweet. my vice is Kit Kats. Although all other chocolate bars are also available. I'm not advertising them. But yeah, you know, and one of my friends will also attest to, you know, her husband actually once came through the door from work with a big party bag of Kit Kats. And I thought, oh, that'll last me a while, probably 2 days. So yeah, so I'm not condoning the use of sugar. But it's interesting how many of us have almost grown up or been brought up to believe, oh, just have a bit of sugar, that will keep me going for a bit, without recognising the crash on the other side. In fact, Maureen makes a really valid comment on here. She said that she stopped sugar for a month. It was life-changing in every area of her life. She had greater energy, better sleep, ailments gone, greater clarity and weight loss. I mean, that's pretty good bang for your buck, isn't it?
Isn't it? Absolutely. Yeah. And it's not just your physical energy that it affects, it's your mental energy too. You know, that was one thing that I learned when I was unwell, because my whole energy system was affected. It is incredible how much energy our brain needs. And if we don't have that good quality, or when it dips below, our brain literally cannot function properly. So that's why we get the brain fog, or we struggle to concentrate, or we might start to feel anxious, you know. So it's important for so many things. So that's brilliant, Maureen, that you've noticed that difference, because it can make that much difference.
I mean, that's a testament right there, isn't it? All of those things. And, you know, it's interesting because although this doesn't seem like anything to do with what you're talking about, it kind of has everything to do with it. When I work with clients privately, sometimes they'll tell me, I need to take a break from social media, or gosh, I just can't remember things anymore. Ever since the invention of a smartphone, and people have different reasons or different things they point to for that lack of energy. But like, given what you've just shared and seeing what Maureen's just shared, what if the reason that your memory wasn't that you're perimenopausal? What if the reason is not that you have too many children to cope with all of their energy, not, oh, well, you're stressed about launching your next product or service? What if it was something as simple as sugar? And I know, like at the beginning, you talked about sugar, caffeine, alcohol, high carbs. What if it was any one of those? So I'm going to ask you another question, but before we even get into that, I know that you're working on something quite special that's going to dig into some of these areas. Do you want to share as much or as little of which areas you're going to dive into? And we promise that we'll let you all know when that's available. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Well, it's a find more energy food plan, and it is concentrating on those particular areas that I've mentioned, and we're going to be working together over a period of 5 weeks. This is going to be in the new year, in the latter part of February, and it's pretty much trying to, as I explained about the sugar side of things, understanding what these things are actually doing to us, because I'm a great believer that if you don't know why you're doing something and what it's doing to you, it's really hard to justify within yourself justify within yourself why you should bother doing it. So it's looking at that, and it's looking at all sorts of alternatives, ways that we can learn to avoid or moderate or substitute, and it's working as a group so that there's the support there as well, because it's hard doing it on your own, and it's difficult to stay motivated. So for those 5 weeks, it will give a really great kick at the end, sort of the winter, where we're all, you know, starting to feel a little bit flagged, to get that boost and get ready to dive into spring. So
I was going to say, as I was listening to that, I thought to myself, oh, I'm going to have me some of that.
Yeah.
Already for spring.
Already for spring, that wononderful time. Yeah.
And it's interesting because Alan's also commented, because he knows that sugar's added to most processed foods and stuff as well. He, listen to this, everyone. He cooks everything from scratch himself, and he still has to inject insulin. I know this about Alan. Like, when you think about that, how much sugar is added to things, it's quite mind-blowing, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
it's only really when you start looking for it that you see, even in sort of stuff that you wouldn't expect to find sugar, and it comes hidden with so many different names. That's the thing. It's even knowing that what you're reading is sugar, because you think, oh, that seems like it should be healthy, but it's,
and the good old fructose. Oh, that's from fruit, so it must be healthy.
Yeah.
And all of these myths.
Yeah, it's when these things get really concentrated down into, like with fructose, where it's been really, if it isn't a whole thing and it's been smushed, then the chances are it's really, really intensely sweet. So
yeah, gosh, I'm loving some of the comments, and I know that some of you are watching from the Queen of Being Seen page, some of you are watching from the Vibes tribe. Shouting out Alan and Maureen, who are just blowing my mind with the comments alone, and some of you are watching on YouTube as well. So do let me know where you're watching from, so I can make sure that I skip between the two. If you wonder why I'm not kind of like this all the time and I'm like that, this is why I'm making sure. Alan, so Alan had put his comment there. Maureen said she was going to have an operation, and because she stopped sugar, the pain stopped. So the consultant cancelled her operation. And the reason that I read that out for you, these aren't people that I've said, oh, come along and, say this or say that, or that Jackie said the same thing. I think for anyone who has any skepticism around, oh, well, it's just sugar, it doesn't make a difference, I brush my teeth and I'm okay afterwards, I think this is really important. But I also want to stress, Jackie's not just about sugar and not just about stopping people from burnout. She does a whole lot more. And if we were to talk about every single thing that she did in this interview, we'd be here for a few days, without any sleep, which isn't a good advocate for natural health, is it?
I was going to say, sorry to overwhelm you.
No, but it was like, so what I want you to know is, and this is why I'm going to be just sharing in a moment, Jackie has a really cool freebie that you can download. But, in her course, she's going to be covering sugar, caffeine, alcohol and carbs, amongst, I'm sure, other things. Because I happen to know that not only is she going to take people through that she's also going to have space where you can ask her questions on things as well.
Absolutely.
And this is where you can really apply. And what I love about this is she's not starting it in January, because we were talking about this recently, weren't we? Did you know that most people that start their either New Year's resolutions or New Year, New You, or, from the 1st of January, I'm going to do this thing, by just the 17th of January, a lot of those have gone out of the window. So you can get over having your dry January, you can get over doing all the things that you know that you shouldn't be doing or should be doing, and then we can glide into February all ready to really make a substantial difference in the boost to our energy. Now, I don't drink caffeine, I don't tolerate caffeine. However, there's caffeine in foods that we don't know about. I'll tell you the one about a few weeks ago when I ordered a tiramisu for my dessert from an Italian and wondered why I couldn't sleep and I had stomachache. And then I was like,
caffeine and coffee, yeah,
and sugar.
And sugar, yes. And sugar.
So I think this topic is so important. I know when we talked about this, we talked about getting sleepy in the afternoons, when people feel like they should be getting on and doing the things they need to do. Are there any other contributing factors that you find with that kind of cause that sleepy in the afternoon?
That sleepiness, yeah. Well, it quite often stems from where we start in the beginning of the day in what we eat. It's become such a tradition that you get up and you have your cereal or you have your toast, and I completely understand, because we've got busy lives and it's a quick, easy thing to have in the morning, but really what we want to ensure is, okay, yes, if you're having your cereal, but make sure that it is a whole grain cereal, that perhaps if you're okay with nuts, you know, and some people aren't, it's got some nuts in there, so you've got some protein in there. If you're not okay with nuts, or you have some yogurt with it. Again, you can have, if you can have dairy, you can have the dairy yogurt, so that you're getting some protein with it as well. Or you can, or if you can't do dairy, you can get such a lot of different yogurts now, soya yogurts and coconut yogurts. Or alternatively, just make sure that you've got some protein in there to balance it out. So that would be a really good start to the day. And then often what we then do after perhaps having that cereal or that toast, we then come to lunchtime, and what are we eating? Sandwiches quite often, you know. And so again, we're onto those carbohydrates. You know, we're looking at, from morning until lunchtime, we've got almost nothing but carbohydrates. So we want to try and get a bit of a better balance with more protein, some healthy fats at lunchtime, perhaps some avocado, some salad, some chicken, things like that. And if you don't eat meat, then if you can tolerate eggs, then there's eggs, or again, you can have coconut cheese or different types of cheeses. So there's a whole variety of different things that you can have. And quite often why we get sleep in the afternoon is because we've had the carbohydrates that make us tired. And so at that point we're going, oh, you know, I really need something that stabilizes my energy more. But you've kind of gone up in the morning and then down, and then up at lunchtime, and then really down. So sorry, I'm kind of disappearing off the screen here as I'm doing my actions, but I was an actress for a while, so I can't help it, you know.
That's like me. And the thing that people don't realise is this is going through an online studio, and if you move the wrong way, it boggles your brain, doesn't it? You're like,
it does, yeah.
No, I love that. I love that. I have put tap the link in the chat for you to download Jacquie's free gift. I'm looking at what I've typed because it's not hyperlinking for some reason, but it's basically all the W's, NHW, which stands for Natural Healthy Woman, freegift.com. That is right, isn't it?
Natural Healthy Women, freegift.com. Yes. Yeah.
So I've popped that in there. So for those of you watching on YouTube, it's in there as well. Those of you watching in the Facebook page, it's there for you as well. And those of you watching on the group, I'll make sure, because I had a horrible feeling that I put a semicolon instead of a colon.
Let's see. I hope it is linking. Okay.
Yeah, I've checked it out. Don't you worry about that. I typed it into my browser and it's
good.
There. Yeah, I've just seen it. It's okay, so slightly off topic, but the reason why it wasn't shown as a link is because after .com I left a space. Simple as that. It's all working now. I can see it. Cool. So, oh gosh, there's so many things I want to ask you, but I know that you've got all of this organised in a way that people can digest. Pardon the pun, but digest as they go through. What I would ask you is, it's easy for us to say, oh no, it's all right, I eat quite healthily. Who would you say that this forthcoming course in February is ideal for? What kinds of people would benefit from it, I guess?
Really, I think it's for anyone who has the desire to feel more comfortable in themselves as far as their health is concerned. I think there has to be that desire there. If you're happy where you are, then you have to consider the health ramifications of continuing eating sugar or consuming more caffeine and alcohol than you should be. But if you've got the real desire that you want to change your health and be have as much energy as you can, then I think it's for you, really.
Yeah, no, I love that. Is there anything else that you would like to add? Because if not, we're in danger of, I could go on and on and on and on to answer all these questions. Is there anything else that you would like to share? I mean, One question I do have for you is in terms of the free gift, if there's something you'd like to just let people know what it does for them. But is there anything else that you would like to share?
Well, I hope that the free gift will be useful for people. It's a list of a lot of the names that sugar hides behind, as well as some additional information about things that you can do as substitutes for sugar, and how you can move forward with your health. And there's over 45 names that the manufacturers use to hide, and that's just the ones that I put there.
Oh, wow.
So it's a handy list that you can carry around, and I hope that you'll find it interesting when you start reading the labels on the packages and just see how many of those sugars are in the food, probably, that are in your cupboard or in the grocery store. So yeah, that I just hope that you find it helpful. And if you'd like to get any more hints and tips, I have a Facebook page, which is called Natural Healthy Women, and I'm there off and on doing videos that the lovely Jacquie Kovacs has taught me how to do.
Yes, I know you've done videos, and I know that you're kind of like posting little bits and pieces out too as well. I think we all get overwhelmed with too many things, so I love that you just kind of like very gently kind of drip feeds information out there as well.
Yeah, I think that's important for people, and that's how I live my own life. That's the thing, is that it's although it sounds boring, my mother used to say, balance, Jacquie, balance, you've got to get balance, and you know, I hated that at the time, but now I understand.
Totally. So if you're looking to hear more from Jacquie, go to her Facebook page, Natural Healthy Women. I will drop the link in the chat underneath here as well. Do grab her freebie. It's really intriguing, very interesting. And also, if you're one of the Vibers, you'll get to see Jacquie in the group there anyway. She's one of us. She's one of us.
I am.
So yeah, so do check out some of her videos and stuff. They're really nice, short, sharp, and succinct, and they pack a lot of information. And whether you think, well, I'm okay, I have the energy, I'm doing well. There's me. I'm about to start training again for the London Marathon in October 2020, and it was only when I started this running journey as a non-runner that I realised, what I put in my mouth is literally fuel. So I've become even more interested in this kind of natural side of things. But also, if I'm honest, I was trying on a couple of dresses in my wardrobe the other day, and I've gone up a dress size, and I think, probably some habits have snuck in since we've been in lockdown, out of lockdown. So I think knowledge is always power. And like I said at the beginning, I really wanted to bring Jacquie and her information to you all, because a lot of us are now leading more static lives, whether we like it or not. And a lot of us don't really understand what's in the food that we're eating, and how we can make these good and quite seemingly seamless changes to our environment, just to help us live as more natural, healthy women. I know Alan is not a woman, but he's a woman-friendly man. So I just want to thank you so much. Do check out Jacquie on her Natural Healthy Woman page. And also,
sorry, Jenny, can I just say it's Natural Healthy Women. Just in case, just in case people. Sorry, just in case people end up in the wrong place.
But I will be dropping the link in the chat as well. So do check her out on there. Do check out her freebie, and and if you're in the Vibes tribe, do feel free to converse with Jacquie. Maybe I know that she does hold some private calls as well. If you think, I don't want to do this in a group, I want to speak to her, do get in contact, because I feel pretty sure that she'll be able to help you.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being my guest. The time has whizzed by, and this will be up here for a little while, so you'll be able to go back and have a look and rewatch and all of those great things. So thank you so much. Thank you for those of you that have been commenting and asking questions and things like that. And I look forward to hearing more about what's coming up next for you as well too. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye for now.
Bye.